Have you ever walked into an Italian family party and felt like you were seeing double? A whole bunch of Antonios, Marias, and Giuseppes, all turning their heads when a name is called. That's no accident. For centuries, Italian families have followed a set of unwritten, unbreakable naming rules. It's a code that honors family history and tells a fascinating story about Italian culture. And today we're cracking that code. This isn't just about picking a name that has a nice ring to it. This is a system, a hierarchy, a tradition soaked in history, respect, and a deep connection to the past. It's a practice that turns a simple name into a living family tree, making sure the names of ancestors are heard in the laughter of their great-grandchildren. It's why so many Italian families seem to have the same cast of characters, generation after generation. So if you've ever wondered if there's a method to this beautiful madness, then you're in the right place. A code of history and faith. So to really get these rules, we first have to ask why. Why is there such a strict system of naming kids after their grandparents? The answer is buried deep in the heart of Italian culture, where family isn't just important, it's everything. This tradition is ancient, born from a powerful need to honor the family line and to keep the memory of ancestors alive. It's a profound sign of respect for the elders who built the family. Long before we had photo albums on our phones or genealogy websites, this is how you did it. The name carried the legacy. And you can't talk about Italian history without bringing in the massive influence of the Catholic Church. Faith is stitched into the very fabric of this tradition. Many names are pulled directly from saints, and the child's name was often linked to their onomastico, or name day. This is the feast day of the saint they're named after. So a boy born on June 24th, the feast of San Giovanni, might end up being named Giovanni. This added a whole other layer to the meaning of connecting the child not just to their family, but to a saintly protector. In many parts of Italy, especially in the south, the onomastico is still a huge deal, sometimes celebrated even more than a birthday, with gifts and big family meals. So no, this system isn't random. It's a perfect storm of honoring your elders, preserving family history, and showing religious devotion. It makes a name more than a label, it makes it a story. Breaking down the code, the official hierarchy. All right, this is the part you've been waiting for. What are these unwritten rules? While you'll find some slight differences depending on the region, the traditional hierarchy is incredibly consistent, especially in southern Italy, where these customs are strongest. It's a clear, predictable pattern. Here is the fundamental code. The firstborn son is named after his paternal grandfather. This is for the patriarch. It's a straight line carrying on the name of the father's father and locking in that generational connection. So if your dad's name is Angelo and his father's name was Giuseppe, there's a very good chance your older brother is named Giuseppe. Next up, the second-born son is named after his maternal grandfather. This brings the mother's side of the family into the spotlight, making sure her lineage is so honored. So, if your mom's dad was named Antonio, the second son gets his name. The pattern for daughters is an exact mirror. The firstborn daughter is named after her paternal grandmother. She carries the name of her father's mother, forging that same powerful bond on the female side of the family. And you guessed it, the second-born daughter is named after the maternal grandmother. This act completes the circle, honoring all four grandparents and making sure their names live on. It's a system of almost perfect balance, and you can see how quickly it leads to a whole lot of cousins with the same name. If a grandfather named Francesco has 5 sons, and each of them has their own firstborn son, you could easily have 5 little Francescos running around at the next family barbecue. It might sound chaotic from the outside, but inside the family, it's a beautiful sign of unity. If you're finding this secret code as fascinating as I do, and if you love geeking out over Italian traditions, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. We have so many more stories to share about Italian culture, history, and food, and you won't want to miss a single one. And don't forget to visit our website, www.italiangenealogy.blog. What happens when you run out of grandparents? This is where it gets fun. The code neatly covers the first 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, but Italian families, especially back in the day, were often much bigger. So what about the 3rd, 4th, or even 5th kid? Does the whole system just fall apart? Nope. The code just expands. Once the 4 grandparents have been honored, the family moves on to the next tier. Subsequent children might be named after their own parents. For example, the 3rd son might be named after his father, though it was often the custom to avoid naming a child after a living parent to prevent confusion in official records. So this was not a universal rule. Another very common move is to name later children after their favorite aunts and uncles. This was a way to honor other beloved members of the close family and strengthen those bonds. The names could also come from great-grandparents or another respected relative who had passed away, keeping their memory alive. And of course, the saints are always there for backup. A child might be named for a patron saint of the family's hometown or a saint the parents feel a special connection to. This is especially true if a baby is born on a specific feast day. A boy born near Christmas might be named Natali, or a girl born around Easter could be named Pasqua. So the system doesn't really end, it just broadens its horizons, pulling in more layers of family, faith, and community to find the perfect name. It's proof that in Italian culture, you never run out of family to honor. Modern twists and regional flavors. Like any other tradition that's been around for centuries, the Italian naming code has changed with the times and isn't followed the same way everywhere. Adherence to this system is much, much stronger in the south of Italy, in regions like Sicily, Calabria, and Campania, where family traditions are often more deeply rooted. In the north, while custom is known, there's often more wiggle room. Northern Italy's history, with different cultural influences from French to Germanic, has also created a slightly different palette of popular names. In modern Italy, the tradition is at a really interesting crossroad. A lot of families, especially in big cities, are choosing more modern or international names. A quick glance at the most popular baby names in Italy right now shows Leonardo, Sophia, and Aurora topping the charts. These are names often picked for their sound and modern feel, not because they belong to a grandparent. But the tradition is far from dead. Many families still follow the rules to the letter. Others find a clever compromise. They might use a traditional grandparent's name as a middle name, giving the child a modern first name while still tipping their hat to heritage. Or they'll pick a modern version of a classic name. Think Leo for Leonardo or Gia for Giovanna. And nicknames are clutch. A boy might be formally named Giuseppe after his nonno, but everyone just calls him Pepe to tell him apart from his uncle and cousins. My dad was Nicolino, or Little Nicky. This mashup of old and new is the perfect example of how Italian culture is always evolving. It respects its deep history while living fully in the present. Even as some of the old rules bend, the values underneath, family, honor, and memory, are still as strong as ever. In my own family, many of my older aunts and uncles followed the tradition in America. My mom's family had several Lou's and Francescos or Frank. Same with my dad. Interesting that my dad's oldest brother did not follow this as he married an American. My dad's father wanted my brother to have his name Ubaldo, but my parents felt that this would not work in the United States in the 1940s. One crazy fact is my mom's Uncle Dominic, or Zimanguch. There were 4 Dominics, or Dominicos, born before him that died as children in his family. So, the unbreakable naming rules of Italian families. They're way more than just a quirky custom. They are a living code connecting the present to the past, a system built on respect to make sure the names and memories of ancestors are never forgotten. From the strict hierarchy honoring grandparents to the overflow of names from saints and beloved relatives, this tradition shows you everything you need to know about what matters most in Italian culture: family, faith, and legacy. While modern life has brought new names and more freedom, you can still hear the echoes of the code at family gatherings across Italy and around the world. It's a powerful reminder that the name is never just a name. It's a story, a legacy, and a link in a chain that stretches back for generations. Now, I've got to hear from you. Does your family have a naming tradition like this? Are you named after a grandparent, an aunt, or an uncle? Drop your story in the comments below. I really try to read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.